Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, Adam Cruz, and I have my fantastic co-host right here.
Eddie Nicholas, what up, beautiful people, and welcome to 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and DWildMusicRadio.com. We are so glad that you have decided to tune in with us.
Absolutely.
What's going on, my brother, Mr. Adam?
Man, let me let you know. First, let's take a moment to let our listeners and our viewers know that the Freedom Radio Hour is here not only giving you fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. Right out the gate, we got to talk about it because it just occurred. Here, we're in New Jersey and the New York City area, and we do a lot of work between the tri-state area, which is generally speaking around here is New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. They actually should rethink that because...
And in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Anyway, but just very recently in New York City, there was a terrorist attack, and we are in a climate here in the States and around the globe, in a climate where we have to deal with terrorism. So for me, I'm a DJ and I perform music, I sing, I write. Eddie does very similar things. Also, he promotes and hosts events all over New York and New Jersey, Philadelphia, and so on. So it got me wondering, I was invited to DJ at the Village here in New York City. Yeah, the Halloween parade. And it's like a little bucket list item. I was so excited. And it took us forever and a day to get into the city because this terrorist attack happened while we were in transit, right? So anyway, we had to deal with the safety precautions and the streets being closed while the police responded to this crisis, right? This attack. So we did our due diligence and got where we needed to begin our work in the parade. Except now I started to think, wow, this is a place where you have to be really vigilant. You have to be aware. So it got me to think, we never covered it, and I think it's really important to talk about whether you live here in the Sudan or anywhere, and you're in a climate where extremism exists and attacks are going to happen where you live or close by. What do you do? What are some of the best practices? Well, it got me to thinking, okay, I'm in an open air environment. This is New York City, the Village, the East Village, Greenwich Village, and then we're walking down Fifth Avenue. There are cops all over, so I felt safe. But what are some of the other things that you know you do when you go to a club or you go to an environment or a big festival with thousands of people? What are some of the things you do?
Well, I know the first things that I do, and we've talked about it, I check my surroundings, especially where you're coming to, where we're parking, the distance from where you park to the club, who's hanging on the corner,
right?
What and who is on the outside as far as security measures are.
It's important.
Then not only that, once you walk through the doors, I'm looking for exits.
That's where I'm at. That's one of the first things I do, because sometimes we go to places that may not have that might not be up to code, to be honest. And so you know that if there's only one exit in and out, it's not a good look. In case of fire, you don't want to be trampled. That's where I go. Here, if you're, I know I'm probably telling my age, but I grew up at a time when Happy Land Social Club was in the news and killed a lot of people at this nightclub in New York City, where folks were either burned or trampled trying to exit the facility because there was only one exit in and out. So,
and and I can say for me, because I've always been a small little dude, that anytime that I have gone out, I've always had friends that have been 6 feet, 6'2", 6'5".
Right,
so anytime something was going down, my little self was immediately snatched up.
So there's something. There's a little list, add to the list. Find a bigger, burlier person than you to hang
directed.
with.
But your friends. When you go into these places, you make sure that whoever you come with, that you are at least in eye contact.
Yep.
If you're not in eye contact, make sure that your phone is 100% fully charged.
Yes, I love that tip. Make sure your phone is charged.
Because all of us, we do that technology stuff when we stay in contact by texting, where are you, blah, 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 blah. Recently here in the States, we've just had incidents where a young lady died. She was found in a freezer, and she went to a party in the freezer, and her friends left her.
Yes.
And then they found her dead. So you got to be vigilant. And if we're going out together, let me know what you're doing. If you're leaving and you're departing, let me know where you're going, who you're going with. But we just all have to be vigilant in making sure our surroundings and keeping in contact with one another.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
we're in there.
And I definitely agree to the cell phone being charged point, because at some point during the course of the parade, my phone completely died, and my sister and I are very close, and she's checking it out, me making sure I'm okay. And I couldn't respond for a while, and I'm sure that added to the stress level. So yeah, make sure your phone
Because I
phones
even
are
text
charged.
you. My thing was, are y'all okay?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, you know, especially in the New York area where so much does go on, that when things like this happen, immediately, because any one of us could have been in any of those places. You know, I think back to when the World Trade Center was bombed. I was supposed to be there that day to pick up a perfume order.
Wow.
To pick up some cologne.
Yeah,
But I did not go. So, you know, you think back to these little instances and you're like, oh my God, when Oklahoma was bombed, I was in Georgia.
Right.
You know, no, not Georgia, I was in New Orleans. And you wake up in the morning and you see that in the course of an evening, things have changed.
Yes. And it got me thinking about whether, as a result of these continued attacks, are we socializing as a result of this just more in familiar circles, and therefore are not experiencing new type adventures like the Halloween parade. I loved going there because I'd never been before, but I had many of my friends and family say, oh, you wouldn't catch me there, especially not
because
after
of
today.
the crowds.
Especially, yes, very
crowds,
crowded, and because of the attacks that had occurred just that day. So anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, let's cover more music, business news, and trends from around the globe right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, DYMusicRadio.com.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome back. I'm Eddie Nicholas, one of your hosts for the Freedom Radio Hour here at 91.6 FM, and I'm here sitting with the one and only Mr. Knowledgeable, Mr. Know-It-All himself,
Hardly.
the fantastic Mr.
Adam Cruz, and we're live and direct right here
on the Freedom Radio Hour.
Yes, on 91.6 FM, as my brother said, and at dwildmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here, getting your number one source for music, business news, and trends on. So let's jump right into it. Before we broke, we were talking about terrorism and how it affects the music game and when you go out, things to look for. But speaking of vigilance, we need to be also aware of what are the subtle little changes that are going on in the music game. What do I mean?
Who are we talking about?
The latest victim in the streaming wars. It might be. Let me not put it out there like it's a definitive thing. But this company I've really loved because it was one of the last holdouts. You could, as a DJ, put up your mixes, knowing that these were songs that you didn't own, and it was sort of one of the last places where you could go where you didn't run into trouble. What trouble do you mean? Well, if you're in Facebook, you might get blocked in some way or be put in Facebook jail, or perhaps another service wouldn't let you. They would ban you for a time.
YouTube will take you down.
YouTube will take you down. Exactly. This service was sort of the last outfits, and I felt really strongly that it might be around to stay. You can move forward in the mixes that you hear from DJs, but you cannot go backwards. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe it seems to be some sort of copyright protective device, right? So I felt good about it. Well, they just inked a deal to license the entire catalog from Warner Music.
And who are we talking about?
Mixcloud.
Oh, Mixcloud.
So I love Mixcloud because of these features that it gave. It wasn't SoundCloud, who we have already covered in previous episodes. It's trying to become like a Spotify or a Tidal. You pay $9.99 a month,
so, you know,
and it's an all you can eat, all you can listen to approach. You know.
Now, just for clarification, they're two different entities, correct?
Yes.
Because when I thought Mixcloud was an offshoot of SoundCloud, so
Well,
kind of.
Yeah. Well, it seems that way, that they were interconnected. But what in fact was happening was Mixcloud was this place where DJs could put up mixes of the material. Now on SoundCloud, there was a time where you could, but because of all of the changes that they've made, Mixcloud has remained one of the last services where you can do similar things. Now, I'm not trying to minimize or ignore the fact that there are other services out there that supply the same mechanism, which is you can take your content, a mix in my case, and upload it and allow others to listen, share it, and all that, and comment, right? But SoundCloud and the others that used to start that way, now they've switched over to become more like Spotify-like, Tidal-like. You have to sign up to listen, or you only get a snippet of it, or as we call it, snippet, you know? But anyway, Mixcloud has just inked a deal with Warner Music. Evidently, it's
one of the titans.
Yes, one of the titans. They say that they're going to be approaching the others, which is UMG, Universal Music Group, and Sony. What I miss? Warner, Universal, and Sony. Right. So those are the three big labels that remain right now. So Mixcloud is saying we're about to try to ink a similar deal. Right now, they value the deal at several $1 million. And Mixcloud is willing to pay the several $1 million to ink this deal because they want to not be Spotify. This is the part that I don't know. Maybe you can help me understand. So I'm thinking they're doing this because they want to be Spotify. They want to be like, you pay $10 a month and you can have unlimited access to their stuff. But when you read the press release and the reports, it's saying their chairperson is saying, no, actually, we're not trying to be a Spotify all-you-can-eat type place. We want it to be much more customized.
Well, you know,
what does that mean?
Now that you have said all of that,
yeah,
I can see where this company doesn't want all of that other stuff because the bigger companies are already doing it.
That's what they said.
They said
the market's already being fulfilled.
All they want is their little cut or piece for what they do.
But what does customized mean, you think? I know we don't know.
Oh, when we talk about customized, you customize it to your liking.
Well,
and again, we already know that there are companies and services that already provide that type of service. And what differentiates them from
the others,
everybody else.
Right.
And that's where I guess people have to do their own consumer research.
I know,
what do you offer that is different that company B is not offering?
Right. Yeah, because they were specific to mention that. And yes, and they were specific to mention that they don't want to be a Spotify type company. The second thing they were really specific to note is that they want you to be able to customize more like in the curating of playlists, perhaps. I don't know, because these other outfits offer that too.
But not only that, by them joining forces with these other forces, it allows their company to be open to the billions of servers that are already in these bigger companies.
Well, you said something here, because the other thing that these articles mentions is that Mixcloud also hosts various millions of radio programs and podcasts, so that might be some of the avenue that's as an incentive fiscally for them. You know, they want to make their money. Maybe it's through that. Anyway, I just found that fascinating that it's like one of the last outfits that we had remaining that was like not messing with our ability to listen to music without needing us to do something, listen to an ad, join first, or something like that. It seems like now they've succumbed to this kind of service where it'll be similar to a Spotify. You know. Anyway, let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Mr. Eminem. You know, that rapper's he's been in the headlines a lot lately. He had a freestyle that went after the current president here in the States,
Trump face.
Yeah, during the BET Awards. He also had his shares of his catalog can be purchased in the stock market. So we covered that in a previous episode, and now we need to talk about his music publisher, not him, but his music publisher and what they're doing. That might be something you need to pay attention to right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM.
And DWAPmusicradio.com. Come back.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and on the web at DWAPmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one source for music, business news, and trends from around the globe. I'm sitting here with my fantastic partner,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome back to 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and DWAPmusicradio.com.
All right, we got to jump right into it.
Oh, yes. But wait a minute. Before we jump in, we were talking about publishing, and I'm always trying to let people know what's going on and carry on and all this type of stuff. But before we jump into publishing for Eminem, I want to share a little something. Casio, our good buddy Cassio Ware,
yes,
published a book called I Love and Women. It's about his life, dealing with his parents, his grandparents, and the women in his life, and his music. You know, he just recently did a record release and a book release party in Vauxhall, and it was a beautiful celebration. So we want to give mad shout out to Cassio, and we want to support him. And those of you, go check out his book.
I think it's
go to
called,
his Facebook
I think
page.
with the comment, what he meant was I love and women.
Yes,
right.
yeah, I said it wrong.
Yeah, no, because it sounded a little strange, but I think that's what he meant. He meant the book is entitled I Love and Women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I appreciate it. Shout out to Cassio Ware, man, a true trailblazer in house music. You know, here on the Freedom Radio Hour, we love our house music. Not only any old kind of house music. We like it very soulful, meaningful in nature. We like it a little slower in tempo instead of too fast. And Cassio Ware is a trailblazer and many fronts related to that very culture. House music we're talking about. So speaking of publishing, we want to jump right into Mr. Eminem. You know, he's been in the news beyond this freestyle on the BET Awards recently that was political in nature and came for Trump. The second thing was that, what I mentioned this before to you. Oh, Eminem, you could buy stocks.
Oh, in his catalog.
Yeah, you could buy shares in his catalog, and we covered that before. And in essence, it was going to be $2,250 would buy you 150 shares in Eminem's catalog from like 1990s to 2013, something in that range. And so they're thinking that this might be a trend you might see other artists do. But those are not the only two items in the news regarding Eminem. In New Zealand, this was really fascinating. They have a political party out there that, not unlike here in the States, we're utilizing popular artists' music. Here in the States, especially during the campaign season, there was not uncommon that you would hear of a pop group or a rock band that would vehemently disagree with the political person who's running and their use of their music, and they were therefore asked to remove or refrain from using that music. I think Aerosmith, Leonard Skinner, maybe others have been involved. Bruce Springsteen, yeah, they've all sort of said different things about the use of their music during political campaigns. Well, in New Zealand, the political party did it a little differently. They went on one of them websites, you know, that exist out there where you could buy royalty-free music. That means music you could buy one time and not have to pay royalties to use it.
Now, this is just the track.
Right, this is just a track.
Okay.
Right, or it was already cleared, in which case you don't have to get permission to use it first. So evidently, this New Zealand political party went out and purchased a song that was called Eminem-esque. And the song was produced by what I understand is a community of sound-alike producers, they're called. Their main job is to produce cover songs, tracks that sound just like popular songs in the radio. And they're often used for these purposes, political campaigns, etc.
So these are not the instrumental tracks that are originally done by the artist.
They can be.
Okay.
They can be, yeah. And what this is essentially is a cover. It's taking the original song, replaying it, not sampling it, replaying it, and and interpreting in that song your own way. And you could sell that, right? So this company, there's several companies that exist where they hire sound-alike producers to deliver that for certain things. In this case, New Zealand hired or purchased that song from this outfit to put into a campaign ad. The campaign ad comes out, and Eminem's music publisher. Now, Eminem has nothing to do with the suit. It was initiated by the music publisher, who has his or her or their right to do that.
Ooh, they're greedy music publishers, but we love them when they do the right thing.
Listen, exactly. So this music publisher sued New Zealand's political party for copyright infringement. And basically the judge sided with Eminem's music publisher. So this is fast.
He evidently is an Eminem fan.
Well, the judge is saying that there was no reasonable difference between the version that this outfit made from the sound-alike producer versus the original song "Lose Yourself." So they awarded Eminem's publisher damages for that. And it was to the tune of $413,000.
Oh, $500,000.
Almost $500,000 smackers for copyright infringement. But this is interesting because, again, I'm trying to say this is not copying, this is not sampling Lose Yourself, the original song. This is
They went and
replaying
redid it.
This is a cover.
Uh-huh.
So they're getting sued for copyright infringement for being too close. Now, we're going to post this on freedomradiohour.com, the campaign ad that we're referencing, and you could decide for yourself whether you think it's too close to the original to therefore be infringing on copyright, or are we in a new gray area where even if we have, this is back to like the Pharrell Williams and the you could be sued for inspiration.
Marvin Gaye
is this
and
down
all
that
that.
road and all that? Anyway, that's all the time we have, but definitely make it your business to visit EddieNicholas.com, DJAdamCruz.com for our fantastic music. Download our free app, search out Freedom Radio Hour in the Google Play or within the App Store. And of course, leave a comment under everything we're posting at freedomradiohour.com because we'd love to hear from you. All right. Have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and dwildmusicradio.com. Peace and love.
Peace.